Hello everyone. Hello. Hello everyone and welcome to today's session. So today's live class is based on Python loops, which is a very important topic on Python programming. Hi. Okay, so in this class we'll be diving into the one of the most powerful features of Python, which is loops, which helps us in very different forms. Okay. So let me first tell you what are loops. So loops are what allow our programs to repeat tasks without us writing the same code again and again. So imagine if you want to print the numbers from 1 to 100, then doing it manually would be a nightmare. But with just a few lines of code and a loop, Python can do it instantly. So, hi. Yes, Python can have features on everything in automation, in app development, in machine learning. If you are new to Python, this class is definitely for you because today we are going to understand all the basic features of Python loops, which are very important. Okay, so we'll start by exploring the two main types of loops in Python. So firstly is the for loop, which are perfect for going through list, string and ranges, and then secondly is the while loop, which keep running as long as the condition is true. So along the way we'll also look at keywords like break, continue and pass, and learn how to control the flow inside loops. But by the end of this session, you'll only understand how loops work, but you'll also be able to use them to solve real world problems more efficiently. So get ready, let's loop into Python. So loops in Python allows us to execute a block of code repeatedly until a certain condition is met, or for every element in sequence. Instead of writing repetitive code, we can automate repetition using loops. So now I'll tell you the types of loops. So the first loop is the for loop. Okay, so for loop is used when we know how many times we want to iterate. Means typically used to iterate over sequence like list, tuple, string, dictionaries or ranges. So I'll tell you the general syntax of for loop. So this is the general syntax of for loop. Okay. Now, secondly, let's dive into while loop. So, while loop are used when the number of iterations is not fixed and depends on a condition which keeps running as long as the condition is true. So I'll tell you the general syntax of while loop. So this is how we write the code for the while loop. And now I'll tell you about loop control statement. Okay, so Python provides special keywords to alter the normal loop workflow. So the first one is the break statement. So the break keyword exits the loop immediately, and second is the continue. So continue skips the current iteration and jumps to the next, and third one is pass. So it does nothing, it acts as a placeholder in this. So these are different keywords which we use in Python loops, and now I'll tell you about nested loops. So nested loops are used inside another loop, which is very useful for working in 2D structures like matrix and nested list. Now I'll tell you one more thing, else with loops. Means loop with conditions. So unique feature in Python, a loop can have an else block. The else block execute only if the loop completes normally, which is not terminated by the break. Now I'll tell you about infinite loop. So a loop that never ends because the condition is always true. Be careful, it can freeze your program because it will never stop. So you have to stop it manually. So now we'll dive into some of the quiz questions, so that we can understand the concept of loop nicely. So here I gave you a link to join the WhatsApp channel, so that you can get the information of live class and other things. So you can join this WhatsApp channel. Okay, so the first question for you is, a for loop in Python can directly iterate over a list. This is your first question. You have to answer in yes or no in the chat. A for loop always requires a for loop in Python can directly iterate over a list. So this is your first question. You have to answer in yes or no in the chat. A for loop in Python can iterate directly over a list. You have to answer in yes or no in the chats. Okay, so some of you are answering in yes. Yes, Tejasvi. So let's know its correct answer. So the correct answer is yes. A for loop in Python can directly iterate over a list. So now let's move on to the second question. So the second question is, a while loop always require a counter variable. So you have to answer in yes or no in the chats. A while loop always requires a counter variable. Okay, so you have to answer in yes or no. The question is, a while loop always require a counter variable. Okay, some of you are answering yes and some of you are answering no. Everyone should answer so that you can clear your concept of loops. So let's know its correct answer. So the correct answer is no, because a while loop does not always require a counter variable. Okay, now let's move on to the third question. So the third question is, the break statement can be used with both for and while loops. So the next question is, the break statement can be used with both for and while loops. You have to answer in yes or no. The break statement can be used with both for and while loops. Okay, so you are answering no. The break statement can be used with both for and while loops. Okay, so the correct answer of this is yes, because the break statement can be used with both for and while loops. Now, let's move on to the another question. The continue statement stops the loop completely. Okay, so the next question is the continue statement stops the loop completely. Answer in yes or no. Okay, Tejasvi, you are answering no. Yeah, some of you are answering no. Everyone should answer this so that you can clear your concepts. And I have given the link for the WhatsApp channel so you can join it there and you can get the daily updates so that you can join the live class. Okay, so the correct answer of this is no, because it only skips the current iteration and the loop continues. Now let's move on to the another question. A loop can be nested inside another loop. A loop can be nested inside another loop. You have to answer in yes or no in chat. See, before starting the quiz session, I told you the detailed theory of loops, and in that theory, I always tell all the basic concepts so that you can answer the quiz very easily. Okay, some of you are answering yes. Okay, so the correct answer of this is yes. A loop can be nested inside another loops also. So now let's move on to some more examples so that we can have a strong knowledge of loops. So firstly, let's start with for loop example. So see, this is a very simple example of for loop and I want you all to answer its output in the chat. This is a very simple example. I think everyone could answer very easily. Okay, I think everyone should answer this. Okay, so now let's see its output. So as you can see, the answer is 1, 2 and 3, because the range 1 to 4, this generates numbers from 1, 2, 3 excluding 4. So the loop prints each number one by one. So this was a simple example of for loop. Now let's see another question. So here I am giving you a link of a quiz. You can also go and answer the questions in the quiz so that the concept of for loop is clear. There are various questions so that you can understand it more easily. Now let's see another example. Okay, so this is a very simple example of while loop. So you have to answer this and you have to answer its output in the chat. And also you can give the quiz. I have given the link in the chat. Okay, so some of you are answering 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Okay, so now let's see what output does it gives. So the correct answer is 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, because this loop runs as long as the count is true. After each print, count increase by 1, stops when count becomes 6. Okay, so this was a simple example of while loop. Now we'll see a simple example of iterating through a string. How loops are iterated through a string. So now this is a simple example of iterating through a string. I think this would be very easy for you all to answer. So you can answer its output in the chat. This is also a very easy part, so I think you all can answer this very easily. Let's see its output. So this is how, what output does it gives. So the loop goes through each character of a string Python and prints each character separately. Now we'll use a break statement in a for loop. So here we have used a break statement. I'll tell you how to write the loop in one line also. Firstly, tell its output in the chat. I'll tell you that also, don't worry. You are asking how to print the characters in one line, na? In the same line. Firstly, let's see its output. Yes, so the correct answer is 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Okay, so this here we have used the break statement. Similarly, we can also use the continue statement. Let's use in the same code the continue statement. So now after using the continue statement, you have to tell the output that what output this will give. Let's see what output this will give. Okay, so this gave the output till 9. It only skipped 3. This printed the numbers from 1 to 9, and when I was is equals to 3, it skipped that iteration. On which example you are saying 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? This one. In this while loop. See here, I'll explain this. So here we are using while loop to print numbers from 1 to 5. It starts by initializing count, okay, to 1. Okay, in the break one. I'll tell you. See, in the break statement, it printed the number 1, 2, 3, 4. But when I was is equals to 5, the loop breaks and stopped completely. Now we have seen the example using the continue statement. Now let's see how we can print the characters in the same line. So using this end, we can print the characters in the same line, separated. Let's see its output. So we can see we have printed the characters in the same line using the for loop. And I'll also tell one more example using the nested loops. We'll print a pattern using nested loops. Okay, so this will print the pattern. So can you tell what output the pattern will give, which kind of pattern? Okay. So here I am giving you another link for another quiz using while loop. So everyone should attempt this quiz. This is very nice for you all to do the practice so that you can be the master in Python loops. Let's see what output this will give. Yes, a star pattern where in the lowermost line there are 5 stars, then 4, then 3, then 2 and 1, forming a shape, a triangular shape. Okay, so I hope you all understood today's Python loops, basics of Python loops, and I gave you two quiz links for loop and for while loops. I think you all should attempt this so that you can be the master of Python loops. And I also pinned a message of my WhatsApp channel so that you can join that channel and get the updates of live classes and many other things. Okay, so in today's class we learned loops are used to repeat tasks efficiently without writing repetitive codes. Python has two main types of loops: for loop, which is used when the number iteration is known, and while loop, which is used when the number iteration depends on a condition. Okay, so what we finally understood that loops are fundamentals in Python and programming in general. Once loops are mastered, it allows you to write clean, efficient and powerful programs. So practice is a key. Try solving small problems daily to strengthen your understanding. So if you have any doubt related to today's Python loops, you can ask right now and tell me when we can schedule the next live class on which topic. I hope all of you understood today's loops concept. Sure, we'll definitely understand jump statements also. So, thank you all for joining today's live session. Keep experimenting with loops and challenge yourself with new problems. Always remember that loops make repetitive work effortless. Okay, so try practicing every day so that you can be a master. Okay, so thank you all. Classes for oops. Definitely will be conducting classes on oops also. Thank you. Thank you all for actively participating in today's live session. Most welcome. Thank you. Bye everyone. Bye bye.